Catus, Maximus here. Yet another tool video, imagine that. Here's a wrench that you don't see every day, kind of like a cudgel. Could certainly be used as a personal protection device. This does happen to be the Blackhawk 151. The -2 indicates that it's a 2-inch. This is, of course, an old Made in USA. A lot of Made in USA tools are like this. Well, they'll put Made in USA, but a lot of times it's just absolutely microscopic printing. Multi-piece tool. 1, 2. The head is actually pinned onto the end of the shaft. And I was looking at this seam here, and I would believe that the shaft and the handle is all built at one piece, but it may be like a press-fit handle. Anyway, just as the title said, this happens to be a 4-point adjustable service wrench. Kind of fell out of favor because 4-point fasteners aren't as common as they used to be. It does have an area for 6-point. It is type of a box wrench. What we have is we have a collar that's kind of inset or attached to the bottom jaw. I'm not exactly sure how they attached this collar to the bottom jaw. But what this collar has is threads near the top, and it's smooth at the bottom. And so it threads on the column. The column has 2 flats on it. That's what prevents this from wanting to rotate. I was looking around, and I actually did find some images of one where this bottom jaw had actually rotated some, so that's probably one of the issues if you're using on particularly jammed fasteners. The idea of being adjustable so you can use it on a wide variety of 4-point fasteners. 4-point fasteners actually haven't totally disappeared. You run into them in odd places. Things like plumbing fixtures, you run into them. Oil fill and drain plugs on like air compressors and that type of stuff. You still run into 4-point fasteners. And I find it interesting that they did include something for 6-point when this tool is primarily made for 4-point. It's designed to work on a variety of sizes. Obviously, the 2-inch refers to the maximum capacity. And if you're trying to unscrew a 2-inch 4-point plug with this, you're just going to break it. Those things tend to be really jammed, unless it's like, even in plastic. So it's a little surprising they gave it so much range. The idea of how this is supposed to work, let me close it back up here. It's a little faster just to do it this way. At least it's surprisingly quick and easy to adjust, which I do like about it. What we have here is this happens to be for internal squares. And of course you open it up and these 2 points just sit in the corners. We have something for larger outside diameter here. And then we have this plug here, which is for, and I should say this is for small internal. This is for larger internal, as well as small external 4-points. So we have this little area for small 4-points, and then this machined area on the outside for larger ones. Other than that, not a lot else to say. Just thought it was an interesting wrench, pretty unique looking. That's what caught my eye. I was like, what on earth is this thing? And I realized that's what it is. It's simply an adjustable 4-point internal external service wrench. I mean, there's a lot of steel in it, and it's a pretty unique looking tool. But as far as how often you would use it, the people I could see using it the most would probably be maybe sprinkler technicians, that type of stuff. Maybe they run into quite a bit of 4-point fasteners and objects they need to work with. But it is a tool of a bygone era. I tried searching around, but I don't think there's any company that makes a similar type of tool today. So this is definitely an old unit. I have no idea when this was made. You can see somebody's used pliers at a couple times trying to get it probably tightened down or to prevent it from slipping, which is of course one of the issues is if you have a large internal, once again, you just have something small right in the corners, and only 2 corners instead of 4. And the same thing here. Anyway, just thought it was a neat little tool. It does, I'll mention the last thing, the way these protrude and the way how heavy this thing is, throwing this in toolbox and stuff, and how this has been thrown around for decades. Really, the ends are all, I consider them actually just fine condition, considering how beat up a tool like this would get. And that's probably the other issues. You use this tool, and it falls out, drops on the concrete or cement, and it can really beat up these drive ends, especially these external square ones. But also thought it might come in handy someday. I certainly have 8-point sockets, even 4-point sockets. But the nice thing about this is if you're, things like, there's still, especially like cars from the 90s, even particularly Chryslers, they'd use, in the radiators, they'd use the little drain cocks were 4-point. And so something like this would just be a lot easier to get on there and get it loose rather than trying to dig up just the right size 8-point socket. In most situations, you just use a crescent wrench, although I'm not sure what you would use for the internal square, particularly ones that aren't like 3/8, ½ inch, 3/4 inch, and I think that's probably where this has the most use, is for larger internal square plugs. Just thought it was a cool tool. A lot of machine work, forged heads, a lot of machining here, machining on this. Thought it was just a really neat, kind of cool looking tool. And made by Blackhawk out of all people. Pretty good brand. Anyway, and I assume this was made before Stanley bought it. Stanley Proto bought out Blackhawk. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus Maximus out.